name by Annotator. Kings and kingdoms shall all pass away. There is something about that name, and I'm afraid that too few of us really believe in the efficacy and the sufficiency of that name. With that name, sick folk get well. With that name, troubled folk find peace. With that name, there is a joy that you have never felt, a hope that will never disappoint, a faith that will not shrink, a love that will never let you go, a fire that will never go out, a friend that will never leave you, a God that will never fail you, a Christ that will never forsake you, a life that will never end, a power you will never lose. With that name, and my God, what a name, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Alpha and Omega, author of salvation, bread of life, bright and morning star, captain of the Lord's host, door of the sheep, first begotten of the dead, the first and the last, the good shepherd, glorious Lord, head of the body, heir of all things. I am that I am. Savior, Son of God, Son of Man, teacher, true vine, the way, the truth, the life. There is no name like his name. And so many people are so forgetful that I would like to write it, that name. I wouldn't write it in the sky because some people never look up and they would fail to behold its beauty. I wouldn't write it on the ground because the wind might blow trash over it and people will walk over it. I wouldn't write it on the walls of the White House because only